It is not too difficult to see that Illaoi interacts well with Hallowed, and considering the strength of the Illaoi package in general, it is certainly worth considering whether Illaoi plus Gwen is good. This is the deck list that I've been running for the past 2 days on Ranked. I'm still experimenting with it a bit, but it's already averaging about 50% win rate for me across 40-ish games, though that is not saying much in the early meta. When built like this, the deck is a much more straightforward combo deck as compared to the Bard version. You're a bit faster on the curve, and having access to Atrocity allows you to steal out games before slower decks can stabilize towards you. You are however lacking the inevitability of the Bard version, where any of your creatures come down with an 8/8 that controls the board. You're still able to flip Illaoi from essentially no board, but you're not able to stabilize in quite the same way. For the Hallowed package, I am not running all of it, but rather just the cheap and aggressive cards. The goal is to get 1 to 2 Hallowed stacks before dropping a champion on 4 or 5. Host and Butler are good on curve, with Butler being a legitimate threat in the mid-game against some decks which simply cannot block it. Strike the Band is your strongest Hallowed stacker, with strong utility. It works well both on offense as a 2 or 3 drop, or well on defense to blank an early turn versus aggro. Sometimes you can even play it as a curve filler when you have nothing better to do just to get the Hallowed stacks. For the Illaoi package, we run the full set of Idols, Prayers, Voices, Smashes, and Eyes. These are all prime Illaoi cards, and there is very little reason to cut any of them in my opinion. The main reason for the Gwen splash over Bard is Atrocity. This is not like Viego where you can target face for 20 plus damage in the late game, but you're able to deal anywhere between 7 to 12 damage rather easily during combat, circumventing a block of a Tentacle or a Gwen, or doubling up an attack post-combat even. It's worth discussing the flex slots because they're a bit non-obvious. You have 8 slots not directly related to the game plan that you can change to your liking. Glimpse Beyond is the staple Isles card draw, but my version of this deck runs fewer sacrificable card outlets than you might normally run. That said, sacrificing a band token, an early host, or a creature about to be killed is still really good, and we do need card draw to find our champions. In addition to this, the card has the fringe benefit of denying lifesteals, which has been relevant to me more than a few times. Hired Gun is a decent early drop. The synergy between Hallowed, Vulnerable, and Small Guys allows any of your attackers to get rid of annoying blockers or strong threats. Also, you can set up a good overwhelm for Illaoi. For these reasons, I've even considered running CHUM the Waters, but I concluded that, well, the 4-drop slot was kinda bursting at the seams already. Blood of the Water is, quite often, just a card that says you win. Doubling up on attacks with Gwen or Illaoi is obviously really strong, but even doubling up a wide board can be enough to secure a low enough health total that an Atrocity wins later. Vengeance is just a solid card, even though it doesn't contribute much to the game plan of the deck. The high cost can make it a bit restrictive to play, but it can let you deal with stuff that nothing else in the deck really can. Unfortunately, the Kaisers running around at the moment almost always have Spell Shield, unless you can catch them the very turn they land. I could see cutting these for more Atrocities or more Blood in the Waters. The mulligan strategy is generally to throw away anything that isn't Host, Butler, Band, or the champions. Your goal will be to curve out the 4 with a champion, and if you do not do this, you're in a fair bit of trouble. In some cases, it is okay to keep a Tentacle Smash or a Vengeance if you're expecting your opponent to play something that you will need to kill. If you have Illaoi on hand, you can prioritize keeping Tentacle Creators higher, as you are no longer necessarily needing Hallowed to get stuff done. Keep in mind that this deck is like 70% an Illaoi deck and 30% a Gwen deck. Illaoi is the major payoff and where all the real nut draws are. An interesting note on Gwen and Atrocity is that a leveled Gwen will not deal any Nexus damage if she is killed before the skill goes off, so you must keep this in mind if you plan to Atrocity her during combat. In conclusion, the deck seems strong, but I do not think that this is the strongest Gwen deck around at the moment. I've seen Gwen Zed, Gwen Ahri, and Gwen Riven around, and they all seem to capitalize better on Hallowed, and on Gwen for that matter. I think it depends a bit on how the meta shakes out, and if this deck has a favorable matchup towards the top field, it will be viable. If it doesn't, then it's likely better to run Illaoi Bard, or a Gwen variant which allows you to dupe Hallowed more easily.